It's a really extreme pleasure for me to be here today. It is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the inauguration of this program is the result of quite a lot of work, and I really welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and friends and students especially, to this ceremony. I want to say a little bit about the background and the vision of this program. As Dr. Kamal already said, and Galileo Galilei a little bit before him also, that the mathematics is the language of science. And I would like to emphasize really the aspect about being a language, because this expression sometimes can be interpreted in a slightly reductive sense. Instead, I think the language is really, if you think of an analogy with the language that we speak every day, being the language is extremely rich and wonderful and sophisticated structure, and it really embodies some very complicated and sophisticated ideas in the language. And for this reason, really mathematics underpins, as Dr. Kamal also said, underpins all the sciences, and it is an essential component for any country that wants to be scientifically and technologically at the forefront, to also have good research in mathematics within the country. I think from my experience in Pakistan, there are really some extremely able and capable and talented mathematicians in Pakistan, although I think we have to be kind of brutally honest here and appreciate that unfortunately Pakistan does not shine on the international stage as much as it should or could do in terms of mathematics research. And of course, it is not my presumption to be able to offer any analysis of why this is the case or any real solutions, but I think certainly one of the elements that plays a big role in this is some level of isolation within the international mathematical community, and also a kind of somewhat a tendency of focus sometimes on quantity over quality in terms of mathematics research. And these two things are very much connected actually, because sometimes when there is a sense of isolation, then there is a sense that you cannot produce quality research, and therefore you focus on quantity, but the quantity does not have the quality, so it produces further isolation, and this gives a little bit of a vicious cycle that is very difficult to come out of. But it is not the case, fortunately, that this is because of any lack of talent and potential, of which I think there is a huge amount. So the question really is how to break this cycle. And I think Abdus Salam, who you all know, who was a physicist from Pakistan who won the Nobel Prize, he's the founder of the Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics, where I have the privilege to work. Also the founder of COMSAT, so indirectly also the father of grandfather of this university. And he precisely tried to address this problem of dealing with isolation and quality of research, and that was his vision when he founded the Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics, was to provide a hub where scientists could meet other scientists and participate in conferences and use the library, and therefore break that isolation, not just from Pakistan, but from all developing countries in which the same situation that I just described is very, very common in these countries. This center has had I would say, absolutely stunning success over the decades, and it has mainly worked with individual scientists. Of course, it is not really enough to bring a whole country up to a certain level. And I think we need now some more systematic approaches, country by country. So there have been, both in Pakistan and in other countries, two fundamental strategies to try to overcome this impasse. One of them has been to set up new institutes in which these institutes could provide a hub and a meeting place between international faculty, international researchers, and Pakistani researchers or local researchers in other countries. One example of this is here in Lahore, actually. About 15 years ago, the Abdus Salam School of Mathematical Sciences was founded. precisely with this principle, and I think it has been spectacularly also successful, and there have been many, many mathematicians in Pakistan today are graduates of that school, and I think it's been really one example of a very good way of internationalizing. There have also been other programs, not in Pakistan, but in Africa. For example, there's the African Institute of Mathematical Sciences, which has several branches. There's also ICTP itself has opened a branch of ICTP in Luanda, which has specifically this purpose. So this has been one strategy. And another strategy has been to organize a lot of short schools and conferences, 1 or 2 weeks. You organize a conference in Pakistan or in some other country, and you bring in lots of international faculty, and it becomes a very good opportunity for local researchers and students to meet this international faculty. Now, both of these approaches have their advantages and disadvantages. Having an institute like the Abdus Salam School of Mathematics or the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences is a fantastic project, but of course it is a very, very high cost. It is a very difficult. A lot of these institutions have a real challenge in maintaining the financial stability. The 2-week schools, of course, are much easier, much cheaper to organize, but they have the disadvantage of the lack of continuity. So I have been to many of these events where students and faculty, they have a fantastic 2 weeks, but then everybody leaves and there's nothing left behind, and there's not much way they can follow up on what they've learned. So the reason why I describe this, because my own vision for this program is a third way in some sense. It is trying to do both, to have the advantages on both these systems and none of the disadvantages. You can think of it, if you want, as having one of these 2-week schools, but instead of all the faculty coming at the same time, they're spread out throughout the year, and it's organized in a much more systematic way, as a master's program, as has been described. So this will be a master's program in which there will be prestigious international faculty will be coming for a couple of weeks at a time, also with some assistants and tutors will stay longer. And every month, perhaps there will be one of these courses. This is the program at the moment. And this way the students will be able to have some continuity and come out of this program with a very strong interaction with all these international professors. So I want to emphasize at this point that one of the key advantages, I think, of this kind of program is that it supports the local institutions. So it works within an existing university, and this therefore provides also support for the local faculty and the possibility of research interaction with the local faculty. It is absolutely the commitment of ICTP, of myself, also of the administration of ComSat's University Islamabad, that this program is meant to be beneficial for all of Pakistan and the region. This is not a program that is in any way meant to be in competition with other existing programs, if not in that kind of healthy competition, which helps to raise the general level. So the intention of this is absolutely to make it possible also for students in other universities and for other faculty to interact with the professors who will come and visit here, and somehow also extending it to other campuses and other universities and other countries to enlarge this program and extend its benefits more and more. So let me just conclude by saying that by acknowledging the various sponsors and the various organizations that have been involved in this, and first and foremost, of course, the University, ComSat's University Islamabad, and in particular Dr. Sarfraz Hamad and Dr. Abbas and Dr. Kamal, the rector, who have supported this from the very beginning. I have to say that when we first started discussing, and there was an immediate sense that we were on the same wavelength and understanding the same approach, and there has been a minimal amount of bureaucracy and administrative complications, and in particular, all of them, in particular Dr. Kamal, the rector, has given me unconditional trust and support, and I really appreciate that. I think that has been very helpful to get everything going. The director of ComSats, Dr. Zaidi, of course, has also been extremely supportive from the beginning and has been involved in giving additional fellowships for the students. ICTP, my own institute, is contributing by allowing me to focus a lot of my energy and my time on this program. So I really want to acknowledge the important role of ICTP in this. And I would like to take this opportunity to announce that ICTP has agreed to fund maybe one or two of the students for this program will be able to visit ICTP for 1 month with all expenses paid. So it's a kind of special fellowship to visit ICTP at some time and to participate in the activities of ICTP at that time. Finally, I also want to say that there is support from the London Mathematical Laboratory. The London Mathematical Laboratory is a small private foundation in London, and they were the directors of this laboratory were at ICTP a few months ago, and I talked to them about the program, and they were very enthusiastic, and they would like to support this program, and they have already given some support in the sense that they have funded the graphic designers that have created the logo that you can see here. We have a logo for this international Masters of Mathematics, which has plans to expand, so we need a logo and an identity. And they also offered a significant contribution to this opening ceremony, because they said you always have to have a party, because a party is always good to start this program. So I want to thank all these sponsors, but most of all, I want to dedicate this opening to the students of the program. As Dr. Kamal said, you are the real protagonists, and you are the pioneers. You will be the first class in 10 years' time when the program has expanded and there's many, many students. You will be able to say that you were in the first class and you believed in the program from the beginning. And that's not always easy, because it's a new program and it's the first year and you do not know how it's going to go. But I am sure that your trust in this program will be rewarded. And similarly, all of us believe in you. And thank you very much to everyone. To you and to